They say every act of kindness leaves an invisible mark on your soul. But for Michael, a poor mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart that refused to give up, one single act of kindness would change everything in his life, his destiny, and the way he saw people forever. IT all started on a cold Tuesday morning, the kind of day where the air feels heavy, and the world seems to move in slow motion. Michael was struggling to keep his small auto shop alive when a woman in a luxury car pulled up, desperate for help that he didn't know it then, but she wasn't who she said she was. And years later, he discovered a truth that would leave him speechless. Michael Reyes was 32, a quiet man who lived more through his hands than his words. His small repair shop sat on the corner of forgotten street crack walls, flickering bulbs, and the faint smell of engine oil that never truly left his clothes that he wasn't rich. Far from it. He barely made enough to pay rent and keep the lights on. But there was pride in his eyes every time he opened that garage door, because that shop was his father's dream. His father had built it with his bare hands, a man who believed in fixing what's broken, not replacing it. And when he passed away, Michael promised himself he'd keep it alive. Every morning, he'd whisper to the empty walls, "Just one more day, Dad. One more." The city had changed. Cars came and went. People forgot his name, and new mechanics opened with fancy logos and spotless uniforms. But Michael stayed the same, honest, humble, and hopeful. Even when people couldn't pay him, he still helped. Because deep down, he believed one simple truth. If you help enough people, life will eventually help you back. He didn't know how true that would soon become. That cold morning, as Michael cleaned his tools, he heard the sudden screech of tires outside. A black Mercedes rolled to a stop, gleaming under the pale sunlight. The kind of car you rarely saw on the side of town. From it stepped a woman, tall, graceful, dressed in a white coat that shimmered like it belonged to another world. Her face was hidden behind dark sunglasses, her hair perfectly tied back. She looked out of place. "Excuse me," she called out, frustration lacing her voice. "My car broke down a few blocks away. Engine just died. I've been to 3 shops, no one could help. Can you take a look?" Michael nodded, wiping his hands on a rag. "Sure thing, ma'am. Pull it in." She hesitated for a moment, almost like she didn't want to be seen. But then she nodded and parked. Michael lifted the hood and froze. The car was spotless, but the engine looked tampered with. Wires rearranged, bolts loosened, not the kind of thing that happens by accident. "Has someone worked on this before?" he asked gently. "Looks like the engine's been opened recently." The woman hesitated, her voice trembling slightly. No, I just bought it. Used. From a dealer." Michael noticed her nervousness, but didn't pry. He just got to work 2 hours later. He wiped his hands and turned the key. The Mercedes roared to life, smooth and flawless. The woman's face softened in relief. "Oh, thank God. I thought it was ruined. You're amazing." "Sometimes, things just need the right touch," Michael said with a faint smile. She looked around his dusty shop. The cracked walls, the old photos of Michael and his father hanging by the window. "You really work here alone?" she asked softly. "Yeah, not much, but it's mine." There was a flicker in her eyes. Something heavy, like she was fighting tears. She reached into her purse. "How much do I owe you?" Michael shook his head. "Just pay for the part. The labor's free." "Free," she repeated, startled. "Why?" "Because one day, I might be the one stranded, hoping someone else helps me." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then quietly, she slipped a folded envelope into his hand. "Open it when you really need it," she said softly. Before he could reply, she was gone, driving away, the sound of her car fading into the distance. Michael thought about that woman now and then, but life had a way of keeping him too busy to wonder. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into years. The shop barely survived. He worked long nights, skipped meals, and borrowed money just to keep his father's name alive. Then one winter night, everything fell apart that a letter came, an eviction notice. He had 30 days to leave. And as if that wasn't enough, the power company cut the lights that same night. Michael sat alone in the dark, surrounded by silence and the cold smell of oil. Then he remembered the envelope. He dug it out from a dusty toolbox in the corner, still sealed. His hands trembled as he tore it open. Inside was a check. His breath caught in his throat. $50,000. There was a note. It read, For the man who fixes what others abandon. Use this to rebuild what you love. L. Michael couldn't believe it. He tried to call the number printed faintly at the bottom, disconnected. He searched her name, but nothing came up. It was like she never existed. But her gift saved him. He paid his debts, repaired his shop, bought new equipment, and hired 2 young apprentices. Within a year, Rhea's Auto Care became the talk of the neighborhood. People called him the honest mechanic. He started helping struggling families, fixing cars for free when he could. And though he never saw her again, he never forgot that woman in the white coat or the way she looked when she said, "Open it when you really need it." 7 years passed. Michael was no longer poor. His business had grown, and he even started teaching local kids about cars and hard work. Then one morning, a letter arrived from a law firm uptown. He almost ignored it, thinking it was a mistake. But when he saw the signature at the bottom, his heart stopped. Lena Walsh. The same L from a note. He opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a letter written in the same soft handwriting he remembered. "Dear Michael," it began, "you once fixed a car for a woman who wasn't honest with you. That woman was me. I wasn't rich. In fact, I was homeless. I was living out of that car, a stolen car. I was ashamed and scared, pretending to be someone else because I didn't want anyone to know how far I had fallen. You didn't just fix an engine that day. You fixed my faith in people. After I left your shop, I turned myself in. I served time, then started over. I worked, saved, and rebuilt my life. Today, I run a charity for single mothers and struggling families. You were the reason I believed I could start again. Enclosed is one more gift, a property deed. For your shop. Paid in full. Keep fixing what's broken. The world needs more people like you. Lena." Michael's hand shook. He stared at the deed, his shop, now legally his. No rent. No debt. Tears filled his eyes. For the first time in years, he whispered, "Thank you, whoever you are." He looked up at the photo of his father on the wall and smiled through the tears. Michael never met Lena again, but he renamed his shop Lena's Haven Auto Care, a tribute to the stranger who taught him that kindness never dies. It just travels quietly, waiting to return when you least expect it. He continued to help others, single mothers, veterans, anyone who needed hope. And whenever someone asked why he was so generous, he'd smile and say, "Because once a stranger fixed my life when all I did was fix her car. Maybe the people we help today will be the angels we meet tomorrow." Music fades out. Silence lingers. Then, soft text appears on screen. "Be kind. The world needs it more than ever." If you want more videos about these stories, please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.